I still think about that day sometimes. Not in anger, not with pride, just with a hollow, lingering weight that sits in your chest like a stone. It wasn't a fight. It wasn't a dramatic confrontation. And yet, by the end of my shift, something had shifted between us, something that could never go back. I can still hear the quiet sigh she let out when I walked past her mid-shift, apron in hand. That sound. It's burned into my memory. I've been working at this restaurant for about 6 months, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone's schedule, habits, and petty quirks. I'm 19, still figuring out how to navigate adult responsibilities while keeping my sanity intact. My coworker, let's call her Kay, was 21, or somewhere thereabouts. Older, maybe more experienced, maybe just louder about her needs. When I first met her, she seemed easygoing, confident, friendly, the kind of person who could make a stressful shift feel lighter just by joking around. I liked that. I really did. She knew the ins and outs of the place before I did, and sometimes that was comforting. I liked knowing someone had my back, even if it was just showing me the right way to fold napkins or clean a counter without getting scolded. It started small. Nothing major, nothing worth thinking about. I had 2 aprons, purchased with my own money because I knew laundry would pile up and I didn't want to deal with running out midweek. I had been careful, washing them only when necessary, rotating them efficiently. A simple system. Then, 2.5 weeks ago, she came up to me during a slow moment, tilting her head like she was asking a favor that I was supposed to say yes to. "Hey, can I borrow your extra apron? I left mine at my friend's place." I hesitated for a second. Part of me wanted to say no, but she smiled. That smile. The one that made you feel like you were helping someone in genuine need. "Sure," I said. "Just don't keep it too long, okay?" I thought that would be the end of it, but it wasn't. Weeks passed, 2.5 exactly. Every day I reminded myself, she can get it back whenever she wants. It's hers, but it's my property. I paid for it. Every day I had to do extra laundry. Wash, dry, fold, repeat. Not a big deal, I told myself. A minor inconvenience. But the cost, money, time, energy, wasn't hers. It was mine. And every day as I scrubbed out a stain or ironed a crease, I felt that small, growing irritation. I started dropping subtle hints. "Hey, could I get that back today?" She'd laugh it off. "Oh, I'll swing by my friend's place soon." Soon stretched into a week, then 2. Why can't she just get it? I wondered silently. Every shift, I watched her move around the restaurant in my apron, adjusting it absent-mindedly, chatting with other coworkers. The apron clung to her the way it never had to me, like she owned it now. And in a small, sinking part of me, I realized she treated it as hers, even though I had bought it, even though it had been mine long before she borrowed it. I questioned myself then. Am I overreacting? Is this really worth making a big deal over? But every thought ended the same way. It's mine. She's had it long enough. Finally, that day came. The restaurant was busy, the lunch rush swelling like a tide I couldn't stop. Orders shouted, drinks clinking, fryers hissing. The smell of grease and bread and cleaning supplies mixed into something thick and overwhelming. I could feel my pulse in my ears. I waited until the end of my shift, a few hours before hers. A quiet, deliberate choice. I didn't want confrontation in front of customers, didn't want drama, but I knew the moment had to come. "Can I get my apron back?" I asked quietly, holding it up like evidence. She froze. I could see the calculation in her eyes. She wanted to beg, to stall, to negotiate a few more hours. "Just for the rest of my shift," she said, voice trembling. "Please, I'll get it back tomorrow, I swear." I shook my head. Silence filled the small space between us. My decision had already been made in my chest, heavy and certain. "No, you've had it long enough." Watching her face fall, feeling the tension ripple through her body, I noticed the small shift. Her shoulders sagged, eyes flicked away from mine. I had never seen her like this at work before, vulnerable, caught, exposed in a way that wasn't funny or charming. It wasn't a dramatic collapse, no tears, no yelling, just a quiet unraveling. She had to go to the manager, explain why she wasn't in uniform, why she was missing part of her apron. I could see the panic in her eyes as she approached, and I stayed silent. I walked away, apron in hand, back to my side of the counter. My heart was pounding, not from anger or triumph, but from the quiet weight of what I had done. Was I cruel? Maybe. I didn't care. I had drawn a line. For 2.5 weeks, I had reminded her, hinted, asked, waited, and she hadn't made the effort. Was standing up for myself worth this? The thought lingered, heavy and cold. I didn't answer it. Later, in the empty kitchen, I scrubbed my hands under the sink, feeling the faint sting of soap and bleach. I replayed the morning's small, tense moments over and over. I thought about fairness, about respect, about boundaries. And I realized something quiet, almost uncomfortable. Sometimes doing the right thing isn't neat. It isn't clean, and it doesn't always make you feel proud. It just makes you feel steady, solid, certain in the face of chaos. By the end of the day, she had her manager call me over, a quiet, awkward meeting behind the service doors. She didn't say much. I didn't either. We worked side by side the rest of the shift, apronless for her, my chest tight, aware of the subtle weight of silence stretching between us. And I knew, as I wiped down the counters, folded napkins, and prepped the next batch of orders, that nothing would feel the same. That quiet tension had changed something fundamental. Sometimes I wonder if she remembers the shift differently than I do, if she sees me as petty, selfish, unfair. Or maybe she just moved on. I haven't spoken to her about it since. I don't need to. Because boundaries, once drawn, leave a permanent mark. And sometimes, the only way to respect yourself is to make someone else uncomfortable.